Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking out another episode of Liverpool Latest. I'm your host, Matt, and I have a lot to talk about today. We have an emotional story to kick us off, plus some injury updates and more. But first, as always, leave a like on the video, comment down below, and subscribe if you want to see more of the latest news, rumors, and more from everybody's favorite football team, Liverpool FC. Uh, this is going to be a tearjerker to start you off. I'm going to be honest with you. So, as I had talked about in the last episode briefly, but didn't go and have a full segment dedicated to it, Andy Robertson and Scotland have officially moved on into the World Cup, which is fantastic news for them. Like I said, the more Liverpool players representing the team in the World Cup, the better off the team will be as far as notoriety. Not that everybody doesn't know who or what Liverpool is, but potentially creating some newer fans out there or new fans of the players themselves. But what I didn't touch on was some comments that Andy Robertson had made after the conclusion of the match. And I'm not going to lie, I got a little emotional about it reading, and you can't see it because I have the sunglasses on to look cool for the video, but I'm a little bit emotional about it now. My eyes are welling up a bit, so maybe it's a good thing I'm wearing the sunglasses to begin with. And he touched on the whole Diogo Jota situation, and Robertson's not one to show emotion or talk about emotion, but you can see that he was clearly broken up as he was talking about it. To my understanding of what I've read, Robertson and Jota had a lot of conversations about getting to the World Cup together and representing their respective countries in both, for Portugal for Jota and Scotland for Andy Robertson. And it's some of the things that he said hit home, as if one of the quotes I'll read to you here is, I couldn't get my mate Diogo Jota out of my head today. And he touches on the fact that, he's missed, that he's deeply missed amongst the team, and he knows that he's smiling down on them for all of their efforts over the course of this, not just his, but over the course of the international break for the rest of his teammates. And it was sad because I don't think people really understand the loss that Jota had for people like me in the fandom, newer. Jota was probably my second favorite player on the team from the striker perspective. Next, of course, Salah being first, foremost. But Jota was a very close second, hell, even third if I want to put Van Dijk in there. But I'm a little emotional, I'm sorry. So losing him was really tough. And I'm not sure if anybody is aware of the situation with, I don't know how to, I always have a hard time pronouncing this last name, but Johnny Gaudreau, he was unfortunately a Columbus Blue Jacket player for the NHL who unfortunately he and his brother lost their life due to a drunk driver. About, over a year ago now. And that was a huge thing in the NHL for throughout the course of the season as teams throughout honored Johnny and his brother. And I always thought to myself, because I knew someone that was a big fan of the team, and that loss really hurt her a lot. And I always thought to myself, what would happen if one of my favorite players died in a situation like that? And lo and behold, not even a year later, here we are with the news of Diogo Jota. And the more I see news about it, the harder it is. I still don't fully believe that he's gone. I want him to start on the team against Forest this Saturday. Sorry. It's tough for me to talk about because I haven't really talked about it publicly, but losing Jota was a very, very hard thing for me. And I love the fact that, Andy still, I love the fact that all of them still reference him in everything that they do, because it goes to show just how tight knit the team was and still is from that era. And I just know that Jota would have been such a great player for, slot post championship and defending the championship. I know he had a rough year in his last year, but it was watching him have that trophy before he died was it's really something. And it's something I think a lot of us echo and a lot of us still feel. And I just like the fact that we haven't forgotten about him, and hopefully never will forget about him. And Lord knows that when they have that little tribute event for him, I think after the season's over in July, I believe is the official date for it, there will be a lot more tears shed if they haven't been shed already. So it's gonna be something, and I hope, given the Jota situation, he continues to look down on us. I know we've been having a hard time, but I hope he gives us some luck as we continue to move forward in our quest to not only defend our championship, which seems all but unlikely at this point, and move towards the Champions League, hopefully winning that. So, Alan Smith, who is an Arsenal player, former Arsenal player, a legend in his own right for that team, it seems. He's had a lot to say about Liverpool in the last month or so. I've actually, in trying to re-find the headline for this before I started recording, I didn't realize that months ago, or a month or so ago, he had an article posted about him from a couple of different sources, more or less talking about the same thing, which was Liverpool's woes and whatnot. And in this case, in this most recent article, he talks about why the Man City defeat was why it mattered, but it wasn't just because of the scoreline. It was just an absolute setback for us. And I think we have to look at ourselves in the mirror after a loss like that and say, what went wrong? We were doing so well, and now it feels like we're regressing back a little bit. And in Smith's case, his real concern, which I echo and I agree with, is our defensive platform. We just can't have a good defensive platform right now because of, the Konate contract situation, as well as his inconsistency. And that it just hurts. And it's forcing other players like Van Dijk, who are seasoned in the center back position, arguably legends in the center back position, to basically be like what some articles considered him to be a firefighter, like putting out the fires and losing the freedom, in the quotes of this article, to lead the line higher and more aggressively. So, of course, also losing Trent hasn't helped us any better, and Robertson also kind of being inconsistent at times, to be fair, although he's kind of stepped up a lot since he's taken that reign from Kirkes, because that was just, for now, a failed experiment. One that I hope will continue to get better, but as of right now, it certainly does not look like it. That said, Smith does go on to say that this international break could be significant, and that this rest is good because, one, a lot of our players are competing. I've talked about it for the last 2 weeks now almost, how numerous of our players, star players, mind you, legitimate starters, how they are constantly having the reps. And I think that's important because it gives other teams it doesn't give other teams, but it gives us as a team the ability to stay fresh. I'm sure there might be a little fatigue in there, I'm not going to lie, but as long as they stay active, it's probably better than them not moving much and getting hurt in games like Nottingham Forest, which, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't see us really losing that match. And I need a piece of wood to knock on as I say that because, well, Well, let's just say that after last season, the first few games where we lost, that was a tough one. But right now, I don't think they're really all that great. And I think that this is our opportunity to kind of get back into the swing of things. And I think this break is going to help us. Smith also goes on to say, are we out of the title race? And he says no, which I find very shocking, to be frank with you. Like, beyond shocking that this is even words spoken. But he does say that the margin is gone. And what I guess he means by margin is the margin for error. Like, we had all of our losses that we could have taken, we've taken in the last, like, month and a half. And now we are basically, we have to more or less be flawless. So, which is going to be tough in itself. We have to nonstop win. No draws, no losses, just win if we'd even want to have a chance against Arsenal in the points race. Okay? Do I expect Arsenal to eventually collapse? They've done it before, and it would not shock me. Am I still kind of pushing for a Man City win if we don't? Because I am an absolute hater and I'm a petty human being? Also, yes. But if it's not us, I'd rather it be City because I want to see Arsenal fans cry. Especially Alan Smith, because I'm sure he'll have a lot to say about that. Let alone, like I said, everything depends on the defense and the midfield. And honestly, the striking, I don't even know if is really our main issue, because I just feel like the striking just isn't clicking yet, but I know that it can get better. But what we really need to focus on is defense, because far too much have we conceded goals within the first 20 minutes of a match. So, and that sets us back from the get-go. And with the lack of striking creativity on the team, which is a big issue in itself, that doesn't really do us any favors. So, I do agree with a lot of the things Alan Smith said in this interview here, and I'm hoping that they take it to heart. I truly do, and I believe that I don't believe that we're going to retain the title. I don't. I think the one thing I disagree with him on is the fact that we're still in the title race. The margin for error is gone, yes, but the title race was lost after the Man City loss, if you ask me and a lot of other fans here. But nonetheless, I move on to other topics, such as the injury update. We have a lot to talk about here. It seems to me that we have the opportunity to have Alisson Becker very close to returning. He's been out 7 weeks with a hamstring injury, which he had against Galatasaray way back in the Champions League, and that was a terrible loss in its own right, but we want to forget about that. He does expect him back, Slot, I should say, expects him back to for the Nottingham Forest game, which is a fucking miracle, because I cannot stand Mamardashvili. And I know people like him, and I'm not saying he's terrible, but he's been pretty ass as of late. So I'm just not super impressed with the guy. He does not make for a great second in any way, shape, or form. Jeremy Frimpong is still out, unfortunately. He is expected to come back around early December, so definitely not fully fit for the Forest game, but certainly will be fit in a couple weeks afterwards, which is good. We need another defender, desperately. I would want nothing more than to see Frimpong back. I want him to earn that contract that we gave him, because he's been out for what feels like the entire season at this point. And hell, I think he was even barely playing to begin with. So I can only hope anyway that they decide to, when he does come back, that they decide to throw him to the Wolves and see what happens from there. Isak is also expected to return against Forest. And I'm going to have a whole section on Isak in a second here. But it's been rough, man, with him. So he's went from being an unused sub against City. He's been benched a few times with Sweden. I think he's played like maybe 20-something minutes entirely of the international break. So he's had plenty of rest, not a lot of reps. So I am a little bit concerned about how fit he actually is if he does come in for the Forest game. And, well, I say we just get right to it and not waste any more time. Rip the Band-Aid off. The curious case of Alexander Isak. Why did Sweden more or less bench him? So, according to I guess the Sweden staff, it was a pure risk management, not performance based. They didn't want to see him get injured. One, because he was already on the yellow card, and he was one yellow card away from missing a crucial March playoff match, it seems, in that division of international play. Plus, Tuesday's game was a dead rubber after the heavy loss they had to Switzerland, and returning from a groin injury is no laughing matter, so they just didn't want to make the gamble and have him further injure himself, which is good for us, something we should celebrate, but something I worry about a little bit from the outside looking in. Because as I said, he's fresh, but he's only played 28 minutes of the entire international break, so I beg the question how actually fit he is to play long periods of football as of right now. I'm not saying he needs to play the full 90 minutes, but I do expect at least 30 to 45 out of him. So, and I want him to see him do that consistently, mind you. Not just a one-off appearance. I want him to consistently do that up until the point where he is actually ready to start for the team in matches that we can use him in. So, this slow start is killing us with him. I mean, the fact that he didn't train during the off-season due to the whole issue with Newcastle, and that he was having to get released from there, so it's hurt him from a fitness perspective, and I am just sick and tired of having to watch this guy who's talented, incredibly talented, mind you, sit on the bench because he's hurt. And it could be something that is a great opportunity for us if he is truly fit to play. And Slot says that he believes in him. I'm sure there's plenty of reports in that as well. There's been reports in this article that I am referencing right here. And we have to believe in him. We paid all that money for him. We have no choice. I want to believe in him. This guy terrorized us for years on Newcastle. I want him to do on to others as he has done to us in the past. There's no reason why he shouldn't. I want this to be Alexander Isak on, I don't even want to say crack. I just want it to be like the revenge tour of Isak, bro. That would make me phenomenally happy, personally speaking. But it's also going to matter more because we already lack a lot of depth on the team. And I think that showed during the City game. And having Isak on there, back on the field, that's certainly going to be a morale boost for the guys. Hopefully we'll create some better striking opportunities as well. And I look forward to demon time for Alexander Isak. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been your episode of Liverpool Latest. I thank you for watching. Once again, leave a like, comment down below, as well as subscribe if you want to see more content from yours truly. Special thank you to FanArch as well for allowing me to be on this endeavor with them. So, my friends, as always, you'll never walk alone.